The city with a traveling man.
With tears in her eyes, she said, "Is this really goodbye?" I said, "Across the borders of land."
I'm a in the city.
Peace, Eon fam. Wagwan, what's up? So, how do you deal with disassociation? What is first disassociation? Disassociation. So, disassociation is basically when you have a circumstance in which you remove yourself from the situation. It could be intentionally or unintentionally. You in a way drift off. You go off of the beaten path. You're not connected like you should be. But you see, a lot of the times people don't realize what's going on, and it becomes a loop, a cycles. So first you have to identify that it stems from things in which the body does not want to experience. So basically you're taking yourself away from the moment because you feel harmed, you feel like you're being attacked, you feel like you're out of your comfort zone. And this has caused a lot of people to even have psychotic issues and have multiple personalities, because your psyche is, which is really your soul, so it's connecting to the mental aspect of you, creates these divisions to have a coping mechanism to deal with things that your body, your whole anatomy has denied. And it's important, and I believe that everybody has an experience in which they've experienced these things at some sort of degree, whether it's extreme or it could be something very minuscule, like for example, name calling, or somebody saying certain, calling you outside of your name, something simple like that. So we as human beings, we're like biocomputers. Whatever we program ourselves, we live it out, we act it out. And the more we're in tune with who we really are, the more I'm seeing a lens flare, lens glare on my screen, the camera. But the more we're in tune with who we are, the more we can merge what we call the shadow self with the whole being. I came across something recently about the trifecta of self. The trinity of self is the higher self, the ego, and the shadow. And when you would deduce it more so, you see that it's the higher self and the lower self. So you can look at the lower self actually comprising of the ego and the shadow self, while you have the higher self is the all-knowing part of yourself. It's the part that knows what's right to do. Whether we choose to ignore it or we choose to go a different path is up to us. So we have to be responsible for our actions, and this is a tactic that is powerful in stopping these denials and disassociations from occurring. Responsibility is you responding to that innate ability, is you being able to see things for what they are and not what your consciousness is always dissecting and making its own reality from, but what it actually just is, whatever that is. Because if you realize that the higher self encompasses everything, then that means you have a connection with everything, and that separation is just an illusion from that. So if you are either consciously separating yourself from the moment, or it's just doing it without being conscious of it, this is not a healthy thing. And the more and more you dwell in it, the deeper and deeper the pit will be. Another way to avoid this from happening is cultivating a genuine relationship with yourself. And that means being completely honest with how you feel and not hiding in any degree of yourself. So what we know as the occult word, which originates from the OC, which has to do with seeing. So the occult is you seeing into your culture, which cult means is the root word for culture. So, or it might not be the root word, it might be a suffix, but cult and culture is that's where it derives from. And that once you're able to put in all together and see the whole picture, not just one aspect, and not judge it, you free yourself. When you are a judge, when you are judging something, you're also judging yourself as well. And that's the irony, I guess you could say, of the world. That the more and more we hold other people is how we have to hold ourselves as well. So being understanding of yourself too allows you to have more sympathy and see people, rather than seeing somebody homeless on the street and saying, yeah, you should have made better decisions in your life, or you should have did this and that. You can also have a greater sympathy to realize that these are human beings, and that you can lend out a hand and not be on this high horse thinking that you know everything and that you are this supreme being because you have a job at RBC or something. Or at a bank, or you're at some corporate job or whatever. That it's essential for one to be able to have a good relationship with yourself before you can have any with anybody else. A lot of the times I realize when I would speak to people in the past, I had my shadow self interfere a lot of the time, and even just on an energetic level, that it caused me to be distant or separate myself because of my own experiences and me seeing the world only from one lens. And this took away from a great portion of the experience that could have manifested. But when you limit yourself, when you see only something from one point of view, see things and disassociate yourself from the moment, you only get a limited version, a very warped version of the infinite possibilities that you possess, that you're now Noel, the now is El, the now is the supreme being, can provide you. Once you realize and stop going off of old programmings, old things that we have not come to terms with, we start to reprogram ourselves. We start to accept things for what it is and not have to try to change, but we are changing just because of that. We are now changing. It's not a forced thing. It's a very a very natural thing, because we are integrating, we have become one with it, rather than even a lot of times people approach shadow work and dealing with old traumas in the wrong light and dealing with things that have caused them a lot of pain by trying to attack it from the same lens that they felt they were being attacked from, and saying, no, you have to do this now, you have to get over it, like shake yourself up. Whether then you have to first like relive it in a way, you have to feel it again, and then you doing that, you'll see things unfold from there. And I know that we can be a lot hard on ourselves, and that can become a very deterring way from how we interact with each other and other beings as well. So especially at this time, it's important to look within yourself and to be aware of times that you may be giving out your power rather than reconfirming it and reclaiming it because of fears, because of denials that causes dissociation. And anything with D that starts with the prefix, that starts with D, is you're degrading, you're going down, falling off of your natural position of being centered. So realign yourself, stay blessed, stay on tempo, Ashe, easy.
Mind elevation. Can't let